But Anthony Albanese is in Brisbane, of course, for the Labor conference and also tonight's game with Australia and Sweden. Let's go live to the Prime Minister.
Exactly. You're all over it. It'll save you travelling around.
You might lose some votes in the ACT.
Well, there is that. When you're ready. It's great to be here at the FIFA fan site here in Brisbane. And tonight the Matildas will take on Sweden for the bronze medal in the Women's World Cup. It has been an extraordinary period for women's football, but for women's sport in general. The idea 20 years ago, if you could have predicted that women's team sport would be played in front of packed crowds with cheering Australians at live sites right around the country, would have been seen as being optimistic. The truth is that the Matildas have inspired a nation. And Channel 9 will be fined for that.
I'm going home.
Red card. The Women's World Cup has changed sport in Australia forever. And it's also helped to change the country forever. Young girls and young boys have been flocking in their thousands to games and to live sites and gathering around family TVs in lounge rooms, watching their heroes play. This program that we're announcing today will ensure that not only can young girls growing up see it, they can be it. And that is what this is aimed at. We're backing the talent, the hard work and aspiration that people are seeing played out with this $200 million Play Our Way program. It is about learning from women as well with real world experience, navigating community sport right up to the professional level to make sure that we get this right. Which is why we're announcing as well today an expert panel to help design the Play Our Way program and to ensure that it produces the most needed facilities at the most needed locations. I'm pleased to announce the expert panel will be Tal Karp, who's with us today, a former Matilda and a Melbourne Victory captain. Lauren Jackson, former Olympian, 4 times Women's NBL MVP and 5 times Women NBL champion. Liz Ellis, a former Diamonds captain, 3 times world champion and Commonwealth Games medalist. And Madison DeRosio, a 4 times Olympian who collected 2 gold, 3 silver and 1 bronze medal in Tokyo. This is about making sure that the next generation of Sam Kerrs and Mackenzie Arnolds get the not just applause as Mackenzie and Sam have, but they get the infrastructure and facilities that they need. We're going to see an explosion in participation in sport. And that is why this $200 million will make a difference to not just recognise that this has been a moment of national inspiration, but to seize the opportunity for the next generation coming up to be able to fulfil the dreams that are being felt right around our nation. Today we'll also see that we're taking the next steps to make sure that major Australian sporting events are shown on free-to-air TV by releasing a proposals paper to mitigate the risk of major events slipping behind paywalls. That's particularly important for women's sport, and Michelle Rowland will say more about that because we want to make sure that women and girls can see it so that they can then be it. This is an important announcement so that women and girls everywhere in Australia can have the facilities and the support that they need to choose a sport that they love and to be able to participate. It's good for their health, but it's also good for their development into young adults, because what we know is that team sport teaches young girls and young boys how to win, how to lose, the importance of teamwork, the importance of getting on with each other, the fact that cooperation is so important as well. So it's a part of growing up that can teach those life skills as well as being fun, and that's important as well. I'll turn now to Annika, and then we'll hear from Michelle and then from Tal.
Thank you, PM. It's great to be here with you all this morning.
All right, it is.
The Matildas came very clear-eyed in their mission to this World Cup on home soil. It was to inspire the next generation. And they have more than delivered on that mission. They said that they themselves, for the most part, had been inspired by Cathy Freeman in the Sydney 2000 Olympics, and they wanted to give their team and the country another Cathy Freeman moment. I reckon they've given us 2 Cathy Freeman moments. We can argue that toss until the game starts again tonight. They have more than delivered on their mission, so now it's time for us to do our part. The next generation is inspired, and now we need to build them the safe and welcoming spaces in sport to facilitate their participation and success in the years to come. I want to pay tribute to Sarah Walsh, who runs Legacy at Football Australia, and Alicia Ferguson, the head of delegation for the Matildas, who are here with us today. We have spent a lot of time together in recent months, and we've spent a lot of time talking about football funding, and a lot of people have given me their opinions, but the common thread about what the first check we needed to write was for grassroots and for the experience of girls as they come to play sport for the first time. Someone should be there to greet them when they turn up. There should be somewhere for them to change, to shower, to call home. They should get a pitch that isn't out in the doldrums, and they should be offered training times that aren't just what's left over after all the blokes have run through. And that's what Play Our Way is designed to do, make safe and inclusive spaces in sport. Now, the second thing, as Sports Minister, when we came to government, was that we promised to end the sports rorts, and we promised to bring trust back to the sporting ecosystem and to sport funding. And that is why, as Sports Minister, I will not be making the final decisions when it comes to the Play Our Way program. Instead, we will have a panel of experts, iconic Australian athletes who have moved from the grassroots through the highest levels of elite sport. Tal Karp, who's with us, Liz Ellis, Lauren Jackson and Maddie De Rosario, who will make the decisions about where this money should go. As Sports Minister, I want to see a sporting ecosystem that is athlete-led, that puts athletes at the heart, and that we listen to the athlete voice. And that's what we're doing with this program that we're announcing today.
Thank you, Prime Minister. And as the Prime Minister and Minister Wells have articulated, this has really been a step change for women's sport and sport overall in Australia. But one aspect that has failed to keep up is our regulatory scheme. We have an anti-siphoning list that is stuck in the analogue age. Over the last decade, as streaming services have emerged, as sports around the world have moved behind paywalls, we have not seen this aspect of regulation in Australia reviewed or updated to be fit for purpose. That's why at the last election we took a very clear policy to review and update the anti-siphoning regime to ensure that it is fit for purpose. I want to thank the industry and all the stakeholders who've been involved in that consultation so far, including the sporting codes. And one thing is very clear. This scheme needs to be updated to bring itself into the digital age. Overall, it is serving a very important purpose where we have broadcasting as a stable, free and ubiquitous platform. And while streaming services are available to many Australians, they are not available equitably. That is why we will be bringing streaming services into this regime to ensure that we maximise the opportunities for all Australians, irrespective of where they live or what they earn, to be able to have the best opportunity to access these iconic events of national significance. We will also be proposing to update the anti-siphoning scheme and list in respect of the number of sports that are under it. These include increasing the amount of para sports, but also increasing women's sports. Some people may not be aware, but currently the anti-siphoning list specifies that it is in relation to a number of men's sports at a national level, and that includes the FIFA World Cup. We have a number of propositions as our preferred options in this latest round of consultation that says we need to expand that so that it does not specify it is only men's sports in this area. So we look forward to this next stage of consultation which the industry has requested. I look forward to the comments that will be given and also taking this forward to ensure that we have a regime that is fit for purpose and that fits so well with what the Albanese government is prosecuting in terms of increasing access to women's sports around Australia.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Thank you, Ministers. When I was a kid, I didn't see women playing sport on TV. I didn't see women in my local stadium. I didn't see women or girls taking up space in my local fields. Making the decision to play the world game football was made because I saw men on TV. I watched the World Cup and I was obsessed by what I saw, but men were my reference point. I wanted to be exactly like my brother, but I wasn't allowed to play the beautiful game that he had access to. Making the decision to play football meant going against the grain and being different. The World Cup, right here on our shores, over the last month, have shown so many of the up-and-coming generations that it is okay to be whoever you want to be, to play football or any sport, regardless of your gender, regardless of your background, regardless of where you come from. And that, to me, is what sport is all about. The Matildas have taken us on an epic journey. We've been with them every step of the way. But it's not just about what's happened on the football field. It's got to be about the legacy. It's got to be about what we do next to make sure that kids, regardless of where they come from, can be that starry-eyed little kid like I was, but see women on TV like them. They can have the opportunities, the playing fields, the facilities that enable them to be at their best. It's an absolute privilege to have this opportunity to work alongside some amazing former athletes, and I'm really excited to see this absolutely changing the game when it comes to women in sport in this country.
Thanks so much, Tal, and I think you can see why Tal has been chosen, along with Maddie, Liz and Lauren, four extraordinary women who have all made an incredible contribution on the field or the court, on the oval, but now, of course, will be able to make it as well with their contribution to managing this fund going forward.